Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWAS NFL Week 15. Continuing on here, got the Bucs on the road out on the West Coast against the Chargers. Let's go. All right, like I said, Tampa Bay's on the road in LA for this one. Chargers laying 3 points at home, total sitting down at 45.5. Take a look at the pie charts, and according to the data, action in terms of the public tickets coming in on the Tampa Bay side, over 70% of the tickets, handles a little closer to even, 52% of the money on the Bucs. As I always say, take this data with a grain of salt. So let's get into this matchup, and we'll start with the Bucs offense against the Chargers defense. And on paper, this is a pretty good one here. Tampa Bay offensively, 5th in yards per play, 4th in success rate. Chargers defense, 7th and 7th. So we got a very good offense against a very good defense. Good news for the Chargers defense as well. Looks like Perryman may be back. He's listed as questionable. He hasn't played in the last few games. They need him back. We've seen the run defense fall off in the last few weeks. So Chargers may be getting Perryman back. That would be huge. You can see in the last 5 games, they're allowing 4.75 yards per carry, 134 rushing yards per game. So like I said, getting Perryman back would be big for the Chargers defense. The reason that's crucial in this matchup against Tampa Bay is this Bucs offensive line has been really good, and I wasn't expecting this, but the Bucs offense, we all think of Baker Mayfield, we think of the receivers. It's been a very good rushing offense, and this offensive line's been great in terms of creating space in the run game. 3rd in adjusted line yards, 18th in run blocking grade, 8th in yards before contact. You can see here in the last 11 games, we're talking about an 11-game sample here, the Bucs are averaging 5.6 yards per carry as a team, over 147 rushing yards per game. So stopping the run has to be a huge part of the game plan here for the Chargers defensively. That being said, something we do have to point out about this Bucs rushing attack, and I'm not trying to take credit away from the Bucs. If you're a Bucs fan, please don't get triggered here, but we do have to point out that they've seen a lot of bad run defenses in their last 11 games. You got Denver and Philadelphia in weeks 3 and 4. Those are 2 good run defenses. You also got the Ravens in there and the Chiefs. That's week 7, week 9. Other than that, though, I mean, you got the Falcons twice. They're 21st. The Saints, one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Carolina is the worst run defense in the NFL. The Raiders are 25th. The 49ers are 20th. So other than those 4 games, the Bucs have seen a lot of really bad run defenses, and if you isolate their rushing numbers to just their 5 games against top 10 run defenses, they're averaging just 99 rushing yards per game. 4.5 yards per carry is still solid, but 35.3% success rate per rush. So this Bucs rushing attack hasn't looked nearly as good when they've seen good run defenses, and they definitely are benefiting from playing a lot of really bad run defenses. Not to mention, Tampa Bay tends to run more gap concept blocking schemes. They're actually 7th in gap concept blocking scheme frequency. Plays directly into the strength of the Chargers defense. They're 10th in yards per carry allowed against gap concept blocking schemes. So if Perryman's back, I don't know if the Bucs are going to be able to run the ball in this game, especially when we don't know the status of Bucky Irving. He was banged up last week. He ended up only getting 4 carries in the Raiders game. He's listed as questionable again. We don't know how healthy this guy is. If it's just Rachaad White and Perryman's back for the Chargers, like I said, I'm going to repeat it. I don't think the Bucs are going to be able to run the ball in this game, which means we have to take an extra close look at the matchup for Baker Mayfield. Now, good news for Baker Mayfield is the Chargers run a lot of 2 high safety looks, 58.7%. 3rd most in the NFL. Baker Mayfield does have better looking numbers against 2 high safeties than he does against single high safeties. So that's a good start for Baker Mayfield. The problem is after that, there's a lot of angles I like here for the Chargers defense. This might be a tough matchup for Baker Mayfield. They run a lot of zone coverage over 77% of the time, 3rd most in the NFL. Baker Mayfield definitely has better looking numbers against man. He's 10th in pass rating against zone, 31st in turnover-worthy play rate. So most of his interceptions, the interception problems Baker's had, come against zone coverage, and the Chargers run a ton of zone coverage. Also, the Chargers defense has been elite at taking away those short underneath throws, which is exactly what Baker Mayfield has had a ton of success with this year. Not that he doesn't throw the ball downfield, but if you look at his efficiency numbers, especially since Godwin got hurt, now Mike Evans is back, but since Godwin got hurt, I mean, the deep throws, the deep downfield passes haven't really been there for Baker Mayfield. He's been pretty efficient in attempting those. He's got nice looking numbers throwing the short passes, and that plays directly into the strength of the Chargers defense. Also, the Chargers pass rush. Baker Mayfield and pressure just do not go well together, and it seems to be getting worse as the season progresses. He's 38th in pressure to sack rate, so he takes sacks at a very high rate. Also 5.3% turnover-worthy play rate. He also has a high turnover-worthy play rate when given a clean pocket as well. The problem Baker Mayfield has. But look at his passer rating. When pressured, 62.3, 26th in the NFL. So Baker Mayfield definitely having problems handling pressure so far this year. Now, you might look at the right side of this graphic and saying, Kyle, the Chargers are only 18th in pressure rate, though. Yeah, you're right, but recently they've been turning it up. Joey Bosa looks healthy. He's starting to become a factor. Khalil Mack is now healthy. Since week 10, the Chargers have a pressure rate over 32%. That's 8th in the NFL. So this Chargers pass rush is playing its best football right now. As a whole, on this side of the ball, I don't like the matchup for the Bucs offense, especially if Perryman plays and Bucky Irving isn't 100%. The Bucs aren't able to run the ball in this game. That's a lot of weight on the shoulders of Baker Mayfield, who should definitely be under pressure from this Chargers pass rush that seems to be surging. I don't like the matchup for the Bucs offense. I think the Chargers defense is able to give Baker Mayfield all kinds of problems in this game. But what about the matchup on the other side? Let's talk about the Chargers offense against the Bucs defense. Quick look at this graphic. It looks like the Chargers offense does have the edge here slightly. They're 16th in yards per play, 28th in success rate. Bucs defense 21st and 29th. The problem with the Chargers offense is they're just trending in the wrong direction. In weeks 8 through 11, Justin Herbert was looking like one of the most productive quarterbacks in the NFL. Even the rushing numbers seem to be trending upwards at the time. 4.7 yards per carry, over 130 rushing yards per game. In their last 3 games, under 79 rushing yards per game. Look at the overall offensive numbers. They went from 28.5 points per game in weeks 8 through 11 down to 19 in weeks 12 through 14 in their last 3 games. Yards per play down from 6.9 to 5.5. And Justin Herbert in the passing attack was looking elite in that stretch through weeks 8 through 11. 9.1 yards per attempt, an average passer rating of 114. Last 3 games, we've even seen Justin Herbert's production severely drop. 193.7 passing yards per game, 6.5 yards per attempt, 88 average passer rating. So this Chargers offense hasn't looked nearly as good in their last 3 games. And now, to make matters even worse, the Chargers offense seems to be getting hit with the injury bug a little bit. Justin Herbert is banged up. He got injured in the Chiefs game, and also apparently he's got an ankle injury as well. So he's dealing with 2 injuries. He's listed as questionable. Ladd McConkey, he's been banged up. He didn't play in the Kansas City game. Jalen Reagor got hurt in the Chiefs game. Will Dissly probably not playing in this game. J.K. Dobbins obviously still out as well. So the Chargers may be missing all kinds of weapons in this game. And this is a Bucs defense that out of nowhere is playing lights out against the run. In their last 5 games, they're allowing less than 90 rushing yards per game, 3.7 yards per carry, success rate per rush under 36%. So this Bucs defense out of nowhere, looking like a top 5, top 10 run defense, and they may be healthier this week than they were last week. KJ Britt did not play last week against the Raiders. Tryon Shoyinka also, I think he's missed the last 2 games on the edge. It looks like he might be returning. Also, J.J. Russell, who is KJ Britt's backup, he didn't play last week as well. He was inactive last week as well. He might be returning. So although they still are banged up at safety, in terms of the front 7, they've been playing great defense against the run, and they may even be healthier this week. So I do not think we can count on the Chargers running the ball in this game, which means we have to take a look at the matchup for Justin Herbert. And right off the bat, not loving that this Bucs pass rush seems to be heating up. Just like the Chargers pass rush is heating up. The Bucs have been pressuring the passer recently. On the season, they're up to 7th in pressure rate, 16th in pass rush grade, 13th in adjusted sack rate. Now, the Chargers offensive line, they've been pretty good in pass protection. Not great, but definitely not bad. And it's not like Justin Herbert has been terrible under pressure. He's actually 13th in yards per attempt when pressured, 9th in passer rating. But look at the bottom left of this graphic. 36th in pressure to sack rate, which is weird. We were just having this same conversation with Baker Mayfield. Same applies to Justin Herbert. He takes too many sacks. Pressure to sack rate over 24%. Also, turnover-worthy play rate, kind of like we were saying with Baker Mayfield. 4.3% when pressured. Tampa Bay should be able to generate pressure in this game, and Justin Herbert takes sacks, puts the ball in harm's way when pressured. Another thing I don't like about this graphic is the top right here. 4th in blitz rate. This is a Todd Bowles defense. You know they're going to be blitzing. Justin Herbert better when not blitzed. 17th in completion percentage, 10th in yards per attempt, 12th in pass rating when not blitzed. When blitzed, 31st, 18th, 15th. So I really don't like that for Justin Herbert as well. Now, as far as this graphic here, this is a little thin. I probably shouldn't have included this in the video, but I thought it was interesting. Justin Herbert, a lot of his damage comes via the deep pass. Over 14% of his pass attempts are considered deep passes. He's very efficient. He's one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. Not very efficient throwing the short pass. The deep pass is the only passing depth where the Bucs defense is closer to average. But I mean, we're talking about 23rd and 17th. This is pretty thin. Like I said, I probably shouldn't have included this in the video. I just thought it was interesting enough to share. Now, we also need to talk about play action because it's such a huge part of what the Chargers do. Justin Herbert is 3rd in play action frequency so far this year, and he's been very good at it. Look at these stats on the left side. Top 10 in everything. Every single statistical category out of the play action. So they run a lot of play action, and Justin Herbert's great out of the play action. Here's the problem. The Bucs defense has been great against play action. The Bucs defense hasn't been very good against the pass this year, but one thing they have been good against is play action. 11th in yards per attempt, tied for 10th in completion percentage, 7th in pass rating, 7th in turnover-worthy play rate against play action. Don't like that either for Justin Herbert. Now, if you are trying to bet the Chargers, I do have a couple things you'll like here. We mentioned Todd Bowles loves to blitz. Well, something else Todd Bowles loves to do, cover 3. Runs more cover 3 than any other team in the NFL. Also runs more zone coverage than any other team in the NFL. First in zone frequency, first in cover 3 frequency, 6th in single high safety frequency. Justin Herbert has some nice looking numbers against all 3 of those. He definitely has better looking numbers against zone coverage. Against man coverage, he's actually struggled. 29th in completion percentage, 27th in yards per attempt, 27th in passer rating. Like we just pointed out, Bucs aren't going to be running much man coverage at all. Against single high safety looks, he's 8th in yards per pass attempt, 1st in turnover worthy play rate. Against 2 high safeties, 19th and 14th. So he's also got better numbers against single high safety looks. And against cover 3, he's 3rd in the NFL in passer rating compared to 13th overall. So he's definitely got great looking numbers against cover 3 as well. So it's not a terrible matchup for Justin Herbert, but there are a lot of things here that concern me, which is why when it comes to betting this game, I'm not in a hurry to lay a full 3 points with the Chargers. Now, I'm not going to take the 3 with Tampa Bay because I really don't like the matchup for the Bucs offense. Like I said before, I think they're going to struggle to run the ball. Baker Mayfield also hasn't been nearly as reliable the last month that he was the first couple months. So I really don't like the matchup for the Bucs offense, but I really don't like the matchup for the Chargers offense either. So I lean towards an under here at 45.5. These teams have been running slow pace. Since week 8, the Bucs are 25th in pace and the Chargers are 18th. So both these teams since week 8 have run below average pace. They've been slower. I guess I do like the matchup for Justin Herbert a bit more. So if you can get a 2.5, I would probably co-sign a Chargers bet. So my picks for this game would be under 45.5, Chargers minus 2.5. As of right now, I haven't placed a bet on this game, but I can see myself laying that. The Chargers minus 2.5 under, or maybe a Bucs team total under. It's probably where I'm looking in this one. Live shows 4 p.m. Eastern time during the week, 11 a.m. Eastern time on the weekends. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a great week 15. We just had a great week 14. Please remember to bet responsibly. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me.